Hi, my name is Philip Horst, and I'd just like to do a tutorial on how to do Dynaviews and plotting within Terramodel. So what we're going to do, what we're looking at here is we're looking at just a blank view of the Terramodel program open. First thing I need to do is create a job, so I'm going to say File and New. I'm going to put my job just on my desktop. I have a folder there called Howick Farm, which is the data we're going to be working with. So I'm going to just call it Howick Farm, and that's going to be our project. So now our project is black, which means that we have an active project. I'm going to go ahead and hit F8 to import the some data. I'm going to look at the simply going to look in the desktop, look in the Howick Farm folder, and pull in that DXF file, which we did. Now I'm also going to hit F8 again and import those points. And we've brought in those points. So now we have some data there. We can go ahead and contour them if we want, which we did. I'm going to go ahead and turn off those points just so that they don't clutter the screen as much. Alright, so now we have a project here that's been pulled in. We could do any design on here we wanted. We can bring in as-built. Doesn't matter what the data set is. The Dynaview and the plotting is the same. So first thing I'm going to do is just check to see what scale my project is on. So settings and view settings. I'm on 1 inch equals 200. So this particular project is in imperial. It's in feet. It's in decimal feet. U.S. surveyors feet to be exact. If I go over to system, not there, measurement units. So that's all good. I'm in. My project units is feet, and I'm set to U.S. surveyors feet. Alright, what are we going to print here? What are we going to plot? Terramodel has a couple different views. If I go to View and New View, there's one called Sheet View, and this is where our printing gets done. But we need to get this plan view over into the sheet view. The way I'm toggling between the plan view and the sheet view is holding down my control key on my keyboard, the CTRL key, and pressing and just touching the tab, and it toggles between the sheet and the plan. There's now two views open. If you open a new project and it's not there, then what you can do is, say for instance, if your control tab doesn't work, that'll mean that you only have the plan view open, and you simply need to go to View and New View and select Sheet View, and now you have two views open. You can see that on the window drop down. Alright, in my case, I'm going to plan to put this project in the 11 by 17 page set template. There is all this data along the bottom that will print as well. So the very outer perimeter of this page is what's going to print. Now we only have the upper space, the large space. We don't want the project or any of the contours or any of the plan view data to overlap into this bottom section. So there's a smaller section encompassed by a white line in the upper kind of 90% of this page set. So what we're going to do is we're going to tab over to the plan view. I'm going to first of all change my active layer to the plot box, and the easiest way to do that is simply highlight this active layer and press P until, and you'll simply scroll through all the P layers. I'm going to press escape to deactivate that. Alright, draw P-line plot box. Now, the location is going to be here. The question is, for the height and the width of this plot box, if I just do a control tab over to the sheet view, I can see my width is going to be 16.38 and my height is going to be 9.61. I'm going to say OK, tab back, and now we have a sheet, kind of a white all-encompassing sheet there. I'm just going to try something real quick and then I'll back up. Alright, we did something wrong there. I'm going to delete this again and we'll go back and do a draw P-line plot box, and we'll say this again and we'll reverse these numbers. So 9.61 and that number was 16.38. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is two other things we want to put on here. We want a scale bar and we want a north arrow. Scale bar can rotate with the plot box. The north arrow should never be rotated. So I'm going to change it back to the features layer. I'm going to go to draw, insert unit block, have a look there at the bottom to the settings. 200 SCL simply means 200 scale bar, so a 200 scaled scale bar. I'm going to drop it right there. I'm going to go to settings, and instead of 200 SCL, I'm going to simply type in NA6. We could go to browse and find that north arrow, but I know that it's called NA6, so I'm going to insert it there and press escape to cancel that command. Now, I'm going to rotate that plot box to better fit the project. So what I do is I type in RO on the keyboard, press enter, and select both the plot box and the scale bar. Remember, we want to rotate the scale bar with the plot box. However, we do not want to rotate the north arrow. The north arrow is fixed and should never be rotated geographically. What do we want to rotate around? In this case, I'm going to rotate around this point right here, and I'm going to kind of drag my mouse up and go like that. Now I can move, M for move, press enter, and I can move this to encompass the project. Okay, so let's just do that. We have the plot box fitting, with the exception of a little bit of data down here, and we'll go through that as well. But it's still not in the sheet view. So what we're going to do, there's a command called DynaView, DV for DynaView. Type that in the command line, press enter. Just take your cursor, your selection aperture, and select the plot box. Then go ahead and do a control tab over into the sheet view. Anywhere in the black, right click and select the left click on the end option. You're going to select the end right about there. And just say OK on the bottom and it should pop it in. Now, what that's done is it's taken a data set that is mostly north and south, is longer north and south, but we want to plot it on this sheet view. I'm going to go ahead and just do an RO and rotate this to show you how it works. We go like this for fun. We'll go over here and notice what happened. Bad move. But what it does is it only shows what's inside this plot box. So I'm going to hit F12 and just bring it back. And it should have brought it back. When you plot that, if you go to type in plot, it should plot it. Now, I would have to change my my paper size, and the particular printer that I have doesn't have 11 by 17. So what you're looking for here is up and down. So vertically these numbers need to line up. The available needs to be at or slightly ahead of the required. If the available is smaller than the required, and then you're going to be missing some of your outer edges of your when you go to print. Alright, press escape out of that. Now let's just take a look here. We were actually missing some of the data. So remember, this project was at 1 inch equals 200. I'm going to change that to 1 inch equals 300. Alright, nothing changes other than it did change the project, but we need to just delete this plot box, and I'm going to delete the north arrows or the scale bar as well. I'm going to go change my plot box, my active layer to plot box again, draw a P-line plot box, and go ahead and draw it. Notice how it's much bigger this time. In other words, 1 inch equals 300 feet instead of 1 inch equals 200. I'm going to insert a new scale bar as well. So change my active layer back to features, and we're going to go to draw, insert unit block, and here we're going to say 300 SCL. Now the other thing we want to change here is the Y scale should be on 300, and the X scale should be on 300 as well. We'll go like that. RO. For rotate, we're going to rotate these two. We can leave our north arrow. It's not as important that the north arrow is scaled correctly. It's simply a reference to what is north when you hold the paper. So M for move, you hold the final printed paper. Now the project fits inside of that plot box beautifully. Go back here, it's gone because we deleted our original plot box. As soon as we do that, we need to do a new Dynaview. So DV for Dynaview, select it, tab, control tab over to the sheet view, right click anywhere in the black, left click on the end option, and select the end of this white line that is horizontally above the text. It's picked up the scale of the project, which is 1 inch equals 300, and there we go. Again, simply if you want to do a plot on this, type in plot on your command line, press enter, and I always pick up the very outer box where my selection aperture is. This is a safe spot to pick it up, and here's where you would make sure that your available is at or slightly ahead of your required, and just hit plot from there. Hope this helps, and thanks again for watching this video.